I haven't really gotten out to see Ghost in the Shell. One thing I did know, I want to talk about though. I haven't seen it, but I'd like to talk about this. Is okay. Everyone's still complaining about the whole whitewashing thing and everything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but we can talk about that a bit here.
I know we already talked about it once.
Right. But we didn't necessarily go over this, and I've got a little bit more, not personal information, but secondhand from people that have seen the movie. And not only are they oh, they're just people who saw the movie, but they're very socially conscious people. You know what I mean? They're one of those darn liberal snowflakes. They are very active politically and very socially conscious. So for those that don't know, Ghost in the Shell is...
Wait, so you're saying they're pussies, or...
No.
They're vaginas?
No. So... Basically, Ghost in the Shell is, I guess, the quote-unquote newest victim of whitewashing, basically taking Japanese or Asian characters and making them into American or white actors. And so it's a big deal. It stems from a long history of, in Hollywood, they used to not, have people of other ethnicities play those ethnicities. They actually had rules in Hollywood to where people of different races couldn't, be seen filmed together in a marriage or as a couple. Up until quite some time. I think it was the 60s, at least. But, which actually, one of the first interracial, pairings in anything, TV or movie was actually from Star Trek. Cause, Captain Kirk making out with anybody and made out with, Uhura. But, no, there's this big deal with Ghost in the Shell being whitewashed. Now, I haven't seen the movie. I can't tell, my own personal opinion. It does, in my opinion, look a little iffy to where it's just I get what they, Scarlett Johansson looks the part. They did a good job making her look like Major. However, white lady in Japan, it's Neo Tokyo, that whole thing. Apparently though, and this is what I've heard, that the movie does kind of talk about that and explain that Scarlett Johansson, that's not her I guess real body, quote unquote, that wasn't what she originally looked like. So,
well, if you know anything about Ghost in the Shell, you would know that, right?
But they put it in the movie to kind of be yeah, we get it. She, is a white lady, but, she was a Japanese person. You know what I mean? They were, kind of, that. That's from what I've heard. I haven't seen the movie, so I can't give my exact thing. But that people have said that, even though there's, these claims of, whitewashing, they're saying that it's just, that this movie, on the outside, appears to be a whitewashing, but they put it in the story and kind of explain it away, and it feels like they try to be it's not, but, at the same time it kind of is.
I mean, I think part of this whole whitewashing thing is kind of, I don't know, people being little vaginas, to be honest. I mean, the thing is...
Okay.
Well, I mean, hear me out.
Okay. I'm gonna let you talk.
Did you see the video I posted on our thing?
Of
the guy that was interviewing all the people in Japan about the fucking show, the movie?
No, I didn't get to see that video.
This guy went around Japan. I mean, granted, I'm sure he took certain cuts and stuff like that. So who knows? It's the internet. But this guy went around Japan, and he did honestly get people saying that she fit the role perfectly fine. None of them understood why it was a big deal. I mean, it's an anime. It can be translated however you want to translate it. Even some of them even said that Scarlett Johansson fits the part better than a Japanese person would have fit the part because her eyes are bigger.
Gotcha. I mean, I understand what you're saying.
I feel like people...
The problem, it doesn't stem from just this movie.
No, I'm not saying that. I understand. A lot of movies have gotten this whole whitewash treatment, and I get that. But at the same time, I feel like people are complaining about this movie, and it's not that big of a deal. I mean,
the problem, you don't see it as that big of a deal, okay? And I get what you're saying. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. Okay, they're actors, they're acting. It should be whatever, right? However, there's a bad foundation, a bad history of where this comes from that affects how people still see it today. And a lot of times, especially in America, our movies make far more money and reach a far bigger audience than anyone. Hollywood is the movie center of the world, okay? Like other places make movies, but not on the scale or that have the reach that our movies do. So these big roles, these big things, it really, a lot of times sends a big message if you're hey, these people of these different descents can be heroes, right? So, that's why, and it sounds weird to you and me, right? Because we just don't have this perspective. But, with Star Wars, Rogue One, the guy who, I'm trying to remember his name now in the movie, Diego Luna in Rogue One is the why can't I remember?
The bad acting dude that I really did not enjoy his acting whatsoever. I know who you're talking about though. The whole time he was just acting like
he was super douchey through the whole movie.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was just bad act. I understand he's partially supposed to be super douchey, but at the same time, it just the way he portrayed it. But that's beside the point. We argued this fact before. But
he refused to do the movie without being able to keep his accent. And the producers, people in the studio, were fighting it kind of. But then they were like, you know what? It's all different, fucking universe. Who the fuck cares? And they allowed it, but he did it, and it meant a lot. There were a lot of people that I'm not arguing. Saw someone with like his accent from his heritage, being in a big movie, and it meant a big deal to them. And I get it, way like you're saying, it doesn't mean a ton to us.
I'm not arguing the fact. People. I'm not arguing the fact that it means something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm arguing the fact that I feel like a lot of you got a lot of these people that watch these animes that are freaking out about this on this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You got these people that watch all these animes and just instantly think, well, because it's an anime, it instantly should be Asian, 100%. But, I mean...
I get what you're saying, but it's in Tokyo.
But not everyone is white in the movie. And 90% of the people are fucking androids.
I understand that. And I get what you're saying, but it's not just this type of movie. Right?
I understand. I'm talking about this movie. I understand whitewashing is a thing. I get it.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying. This movie, according to other people, it's not as big of a victim. It's a futuristic, diverse world or whatever, right? But it does kind of get a little weird. A lot of people, because, she's from Japan, people expected Major to be Asian. Now, I think that Scarlett Johansson looked the part. I think they nailed it on that. You know what I mean? But it does come down to, like, a lot of people are just really mad about the poor representation of,
the different races
of Hispanic people, of Asian people, of even like black people. Like there's a lot of just bad, really, like they're barely ever seen, like, you know what I mean, as these big, heroes or whatever. So
yeah, and it's not that I'm not arguing with the fact of it. I'm not saying that these people are that whitewashing is good or anything like that. So don't get me wrong there. Mm-hmm. I'm just in Ghost in the Shell specifically. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's a bit overboard. Like, okay. The Doctor Strange one. Okay.
Right.
There's no reason they couldn't have had. I mean, they literally had a guy that looked just like the guy from the comics. But instead, they used him as a background, nod to the comics.
Yeah.
Now, I get that. And Disney fucked up there.
Right. No, I agree that things like that are definitely, like, I didn't like, I don't like Tilda Swinton in anything, to be honest. Like, I'm not a fan of her in any movie, but, like, I didn't think that was good casting.
I feel like the part could have been
at all.
Just as well been played as by random Asian dude in the background. I honestly don't know his name because I don't even know. Did they even give him a name in the movie?
I don't think so.
Like, he just gave them tea and walked away, or was he the same guy that was missing the hand? I can't remember.
I don't think so. But I get what you're saying. But a lot of this also stems from the fact that, like, okay, just a bit of a preface. So comic books, right? In comics and comic book worlds, they reboot all the time.
Yep.
Okay? They retell the story, they change up details, they just retcon stuff, they get rid of things, right?
Yep.
And just change entire histories of characters. They made Captain America an agent of Hydra. Apparently, he's been part of Hydra all along.
Yep.
Like, people lost their mind over that. Okay, yep. Which I agree. Like lose your mind over that. That's stupid. That completely destroys his entire character. However,
right.
However, there's a lot of outrage that comes whenever they retell stories and change characters' ethnicity. And it's just another detail, right? So they changed Johnny Storm to a black guy, and people lost their minds. And they shouldn't have. Like, it's just whatever. There were rumors that Mary Jane in the new Spider-Man was going to be a black girl. And people were losing their minds.
Okay, I have no problem with Johnny Storm being the black guy. Mm-hmm. But don't do this whole weird adoption thing. Either make the family black, mm-hmm. or make the family white. This weird adoption thing kind of...
Right.
No.
I get what you're saying.
And I completely get wanting to add race to it and stuff like that, but they could have easily made, Mr. Fantastic black as well.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? You do that, and people not only just lose their minds over, one character being black. They lose their minds over the whole cast being black, and then they call it, like, the Blacktastic Four or something, and just get stupid.
I'm not saying
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying, like, that's something that people would do because people are just downright disgusting. But
I'm not saying the whole cast. I'm just saying
I get
make Grimm black. But I mean, then you'd have people upset. Well, you finally put a black guy in there, but then you turned him to stone. But I get that. But make Mr. Fantastic. I feel either way they flopped that movie. It was retarded anyways.
Yeah.
But
they screwed up more than the casting.
I just didn't
kind of liked the cast.
The little weird adoption thing just kind of really didn't sit well with the situation. I don't know. Maybe it was just I didn't like the. I don't know. I can't even explain it.
But the problem.
That movie was so bad.
It was, so but bad. This movie, Ghost in the Shell, was basically just a giant culmination of just years of all this stupid stuff and just bad casting just coming to a head, right? So it's getting the most attention because of other movies doing it poorly, and, like, we're talking, back in the day, it goes really far back. The movie, The Ten Commandments, the like, big, what's it, it was, had Charlton Heston. It was 1956 was when the movie came out.
I watch 1956 movies all the time.
He played Moses and stuff. He like, they're in Egypt. Everyone was like a white guy, except for they made all like the villains look darker, right? They would just put like tan makeup on them, but everyone was white.
Well, I mean, the 1950s,
right? And I get that, but it stems from that. I mean, we can't forget that the 50s weren't that long ago, right? Like your grandparents.
I mean, it's
were
been
there
60-some years. I mean,
right? But we're still getting
we're getting past it. Though. Once our grandparents are dead, we're past it.
Right, but we're in the aftershocks of it. Right, we're in the aftershocks of it. Like, it was a big thing, right? Like, it was like boom, like, right. But now we can socially talk about it because we have the biggest social platform ever, the internet and Facebook especially, to everyone communicate and share ideas and thoughts and talk about it. So if in 1956, if black people were allowed to express themselves, trust me, it would have been a fucking problem. It would have been a problem then, but they weren't, they would have just been laughed at and beaten, and the police would have arrested them and beat them to death or something like that. Like, it would have been not too different from today, but
this really did get political quick.
Sorry, you bring up whitewashing. It's a political issue. Apparently,
Kayla Gardner loved my quote. Once our grandparents are dead, we're past it.
I mean, that's almost true, but there's still like some people's parents who still
they were raised that way. I get it.
Right. So, just statistically speaking, our generation is the most diverse and most socially accepting generation ever.
With time, though, we will. I mean, this whole whitewashing incident will be a thing of the past.
Right.
I feel
but we've got to keep bringing attention to it. Otherwise, people won't know they're doing wrong, right? So if you keep doing something and it's wrong and no one ever tells you, it's really hard and really unusual for you just all of a sudden go, wow, this is really wrong. Like, it doesn't happen too often. Especially when people are like, oh, we made, millions of dollars. People must have liked it. And then you don't change anything, right? So
I don't want, like, I feel like a good, and once again, I don't know if the movie's good or not, but I feel like if a movie is good, though, for it to be judged and no one going to see it or something like that because they think, it's whitewashed or this and that, it is, I mean, I understand, let people know and stuff like that. No need to throw riots, though. No need to not see the movie or protest or something. I mean, I guess if you want to protest, as long as it's like a peaceful thing, there's no reason to get crazy about it, though.
Okay, well, I mean,
it
like I said, it's a big deal to a lot of people, not necessarily us, because we're white dudes. There's tons of white dudes in movies, but other people they do want to see themselves in movies.
I want to see myself in the movies.
Right. I'm just saying they would like to have like them, like someone like they can like see like almost like in a mirror and connect to, and be like, hey, look, we're in a movie. Look what we can do. And so it just doesn't happen a lot of times with stuff.
Is that why people are so happy that fat dudes are starting to be in movies?
Probably.
Okay. Man, that makes sense. Makes me feel more comfortable.
Right. There's yeah, I mean, it's just there's also a problem though. Like they take like fat people and always make them a joke. Like there's just like stereotypical things they do in Hollywood that are just like outplayed.
To be fair, 9 times out of 10, the fat dudes are playing in comedy movies.
I understand that, but that's because they won't put them in action movies, right? Like they won't put them in a serious movie. They're like, I don't want to see this fat guy.
Well, to be fair, though,
can you imagine the most recent Rambo movie if Rambo was like 350? Like he was just
but
like,
at the same
like a
time,
big gut. He's just like running around. Just
could you imagine Rambo doing? I mean, he'd run out of breath halfway through the fucking movie, or not even halfway through the movie, quarter through the movie.
He didn't run that much. He didn't
Doesn't
run
matter.
that much. He just sat on top of a turret.
Much.
He sat on top of a turret and shot down.
I would run out of breath doing that for a long time.
He shot down millions of that village of like 100 people. I don't even know how many people he killed there.
I would run out of breath from that. I know damn well you would.
He didn't run.
Doesn't matter.
He was old. He can't run anymore.
Doesn't matter.
He shot people with a bow and arrow.
Can you shoot a bow and arrow?
Yeah, but I'm not going to get winded from it.
You might.
I won't.
How do you know? How do you know? Have you shot a bow and arrow recently?
Not recently, but I have before. It's not like exerting on stamina. Like
well,
you're not.
I don't know.
Like,
I mean, what kind of bow was it? Wait, did you say crossbow or regular bow?
Regular bow.
Well, what kind of bow were you using? Like, were you using like a compound, or like were you using like one of those? And what kind was the Rambo using? I mean, there's different kinds of things we're talking. I mean, there are some bows that are really hard to pull back, and like now they got all these fancy bows and shit that are much easier to pull back and have just as much strength.
Right.
So I
understand what you're saying, but
if you shot one of those and Rambo's shooting one of those hard to shoot bows, obviously Rambo's not going to be winded, and you would be.
Look. You don't get winded shooting a bow and arrow, okay? It's why Jennifer Lawrence could do it. She was not on top of her cardio game. She didn't run very much in those movies. Like that third one wasn't a lot of running.
No, the third one was mostly walking.
What was it? It was
standing.
Like 3.5 and like 3. There was not a lot of running. There was some running in 2. They ran from monkeys. First one they ran as well.
They ran a lot in the first one.
They did. But I think she got tired. She was so tired from running
that she just decided not to anymore.
And not shooting a bow and arrow, that she decided
just swap it up a little bit. Let's shoot bow and arrows more and less running. How's that sound?
Right, yeah. But either way, just to like whitewashing is an issue just because it has a bad history, and I do think that we should see more, diverse characters.
And I'm sure we will. And
especially stop changing, there's a lot of times when they change people of ethnicities to white people, and that's the problem.
No, and right? I understand that.
Like white people will still go see movies if people are black. It's not gonna hurt you.
Well, I mean, even if it does, it may hurt movies for a brief period of time if we start doing stuff like that. But sooner or later, people are going to start seeing these movies.